Well, thank you very much for staying. And as I promised you, it's a packed hour today. I'm sure you're sitting at home all enjoying. Well, I have with me in the studio now my senior brothers who have deserted me, but they can run, they can hide. But I've got them here. I don't say thank you. Anybody who comes on the show at this hour, is literally for God and country. To my immediate left, Maurice Ampao, legal practitioner, and then far Abraham Amaliba, also legal practitioner, speaks for the NDC, and we're talking about to pay or not to pay. I have never seen one case with so many angles coming out of it like the Woyome case. But I'm going to start from a different angle. Now, I'll start with Maurice and then we'll Maurice. Listen, we've had so many publications, right, where big and huge monies have been lost. 600 million, 200 million, 500 million, lost. Or misappropriated, or something not right down to it. Why is this 50 million paining us so much?
You see,
bigger monies have been lost.
Oh, this money was described by Martin Amedu as Gargantua. It shows you that money is not a mean money. It's a very huge money.
No, I mean huge. I mean
yes.
Bigger monies. 600 million. Sometimes. 500, 200 million. I mean, I can cite examples of departments that have sort of not been able to explain this quantum of money. But this 52 million, we just can't let go.
What happened was the revelation by the Auditor General, and after the revelation and the manner at which the money was actually paid, the processes, then people begin to raise questions that, look, it's out of judgment debt. And then it came out to that the state refused to go and defend the suit. So then politicization of the whole issue. Then we begin to have a lot of investigations as to why we are paying that money. And then we have conflicting explanations from government side. The opposition came in. Individuals started having interest in the matter. So it has generated a lot of public interest. And then you have Woyome also coming out with his own story. And then at the end of the day, we were all confused. The late President Mills, the historians in peace, also came out saying that I did not know. Later I got to know that he knew about it. And then Woyome also started raising the issue that, look, I have a genuine contract. And then the Attorney General, Deputy Martin came out to say that, look, the state has no case. And then they said the state had case. So it generated a lot of public interest. And at the end of the day, that's where we are. So this case, the money is huge. And then for one person to get that money within a very short time, if you look at the bureaucracy, paying, the state paying contractors, what you have to go through. And this man was able to get that money, huge. And at that time, we were struggling to balance our budget. But this money was paid. And then later we got to know that, the amount of money we have set up for judgment debt, we actually take a chunk of our budgetary allocation. So this case has this political twist, and then a lot of stories around, a lot of conflicting stories, and you have a lot of song, Woyome, so you... So it was not easy, yes.
This case even generated a single.
So definitely, that is where we are now.
Abraham.
Yes.
My law degree is from Edumasa, my little village in Edumasa, Nakwem, that's where my law degree is. But one thing that I could never, ever understand was how the prosecuting team was going to make willful causing financial loss stick on a private individual. What could you tell a judge? How are you going to convince him that this private individual who has no direct access to state willfully cause financial loss? How could you argue your case out?
It is basically conspiracy to causing financial loss, not causing financial loss. He conspired.
But it was willful. His charge was willful.
Conspiracy to willful cause financial loss. But in any case, the charge is not limited to only private persons, public officials.
Okay.
Indeed, the first person, I've had some banter with him before, the first person who was charged with this offense, people think it was Chikata. Chachu, no. It was actually A-Life.
Okay.
Who the law went against using that law. So it's possible.
Willful causing the state.
If you read the letter, the writing of the law, it says any person. It didn't say any public official.
Okay.
So any person who causes, and then it goes on to talk about willful causing financial loss. So it's open to both private persons and public persons.
How would a private person willful cause financial loss to a state?
So, for instance, if I'm working with the Ministry of Health or any of the government departments, I'm coming.
Okay.
Then I give you money as a private individual to execute a task for the state, and it goes bad. In other words, the state loses that money. You have conspired in causing the financial loss. So that is how one example of it, where a private person deals with a public official who is acting for the state as an agent of the state, but gives money to a private person to undertake a tax for the government, as in this case, building stadia for the government, and then the money is lost. You have conspired in causing financial loss to the state.
Now, so when he talks about conspiring, that means that Woyome cannot stand trial alone. Are you seeing this argument? If you say Woyome conspired, who are those people? So I believe that those who willfully allow Woyome.
So the willful has to move from Woyome to somebody.
Yes, those who allow Woyome to get access to this money by okaying the whole transactions when they knew from the various legal writings that was written. Now we have a renowned lawyer called Kwame Tete. He wrote to the AG at that time, saying that Woyome doesn't have a contract. Woyome contract has been abrogated. That one, the AG and the deputy at that time ignored that advice and rely on advice from the direct legal, finance, and then other sources. And so those people, the AG at that time and the deputy, aided Woyome to cause financial loss.
No, but that is one leg of it.
Okay.
Another leg is the state can give a private person money to execute a tax for the state. And if that money is lost and the state does not benefit from the use of that money, they can charge you for causing financial loss to the state.
I'm talking about this context.
So one leg is when you conspire as a private person, and the other leg is where the state deals with you as a private person, but the money was lost in the process. So like I'm saying, in the A-Life case, it was a private person, but the state prosecuted him. The other thing has to do with what he's talking about, where he's saying that state officials, Betty, and then Bartonodro, particularly Betty, had a letter from Kwame Tete. You see, ministers of state take opinions from technocrats. Indeed, no minister can work and take decisions without relying on technocrats. And these technocrats are like directors. They are not just lower level technocrats. And so if they depend on the advice of the technocrat and profess an opinion, you cannot take him on because he relied on good advice or judgment from technocrats. If it turns out not to be correct, you can't take him on personally for the acts that has been happened.
I mean, that's the case. I mean, he's taking advice from somebody who's supposed to know better than him or her, and if the case goes wrong, acted in good faith.
No. If you look at the law, the Attorney General is the principal legal advisor. You take advice from people at your own peril. The box talk at you. You are responsible. You are a lawyer, competent lawyer. So if you go and take an advice that did not benefit the state, we should hold who responsible.
We hold the public officials who gave the advice responsible, and not the minister who relied on the advice of technocrats.
No, this we are talking about Attorney General. a lawyer, a lawyer. You see, when you talk about a minister who goes to seek an advice for the Attorney General Department, there's a contractual arrangement, and then the minister is not a lawyer. So he refers you to the AG, and then the AG advises, and then end up that the advice was not good. That one is different from a Attorney General who is a lawyer, a competent lawyer. You ought to advise the state, and you go and seek an advice where there's no contract, when the contract is unconstitutional, you didn't see it, intentionally or negligently, you ignore it. Then we have, you see, my pain in this whole transaction is the Deputy Attorney General at that time, Banti Odro, who is still contesting the decision of the Supreme Court. As of now, he went to Cape Coast to say that, look, the decision of the Supreme Court declaring that the transactions unconstitutional to him is wrong. So, but Odro is still believing that the state do not have a case. So, yes, that's his position. So now you can say that he sought an advice from someone. Betty and then Patriotic are competent lawyers, experienced. That's why they appoint you. You see, before they appoint an Attorney General, they don't appoint an accountant. They will never appoint somebody who doesn't have a legal background. They appoint an experienced person, and you are responsible and accountable for your decisions. So you don't say that I am Attorney General, I go and seek an advice, especially when you have legal opinions from lawyer Kwame Tete, who has dealing with the Woyome, and he's telling you that, look, from what I have, the man doesn't have a case. Then you have to pause and even invite the man, invite Woyome, and begin to cross-examine them, and let that Kwame Tete, who is an experienced lawyer, more than 30 to 40, almost 30 plus, you must rely on his document and then interrogate Woyome. And then you can use his advice at the court. But you know all those things, and then you go ahead.
I disagree because the ministers of state don't take advice from outside. They take advice from their technocrats.
No, I'm talking about the AG.
Yes, even with the AG, he's a minister. So they take advice from their technocrats, not outsiders. Indeed, let me tell you.
Who will be the technocrats for the
The
AG?
technocrats here will be the Nete, those people. Those are the technocrats within the ministry. Like in the Ministry of Attorney General Department, you can talk about the Solicitor General. You know that. Solicitor General is the head of...
That'll be Gazy?
I don't know her name.
Yeah,
she was a lady.
Yeah.
They've changed her.
No, she's still...
Oh, Gazy is a lady.
Yeah,
good. So fine. So they take advice from their technocrats and not from outsiders. Kwame Tete is an outsider. Now, in fact, you see, if Betty had taken an advice...
I think in this case, the Solicitor General also said that she wasn't going to sign because she wasn't happy with it.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
And I'm saying that if Betty had taken advice from outside, they would have condemned her today and said that, why? You have technocrats. Why are you taking advice from outside?
The advice is don't pay.
No. No.
Pay.
You are talking as if the don't pay at that time was a good advice. You are talking as if Betty knew that there was don't pay and there was pay. And then he decided to take the no pay. And then now, you are getting my analysis. Yes, Betty, in fact, was new in the ministry. Betty actually came and had to rely on her technocrats. And if they have misled her to take this decision, I think that, in my view, is the technocrats who should be held responsible.
But so, no, I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Amaliba, you are taking that posture, because you see, as a lawyer, all those technocrats are your subordinates. At the end of the day, you take the final decision, so that if your subordinate gives you legal advice, and I can tell you in this ministry, you see, Betty is more experienced than the subordinates. I'm saying that as a lawyer, when somebody gives you advice, you also know the law. This is the difference between, there's a difference between a ministry that is going to seek a legal advice and rely on advice of lawyers.
These are lawyers.
These are lawyers. Nana, it is rather when you ignore the advice of your technocrats. If they give you advice and you ignore it, and then you are on your own frolic, that is where, when something goes wrong, you would be held responsible because you ignored their advice. And when you look at the case of Solomon, Salome, and in that case, ignored an advice from within. You know that.
Solomon is not a lawyer.
Okay. No, I'm talking about a minister of state. If we talk about a lawyer, why is that we lawyers, when we are in trouble, we take another lawyer? Why do you say that we are competent enough to go to court on our own?
Let me find out. Let me clarify. President Mills said he gave 2 instructions not to pay. The first trial judge says, look, break the payments up and let's see what's going to go on. So I'm wondering, at all these times when everybody was saying, stay of execution, hold on, where then will be the decision to say, no, I'll still go ahead and pay?
Because the technocrats that he was relying on
will override the president's instruction?
The president's instruction went to the Minister of Finance. That's Dufo.
Okay.
But Betty wrote an opinion, which opinion was, Betty actually didn't pay. Betty doesn't pay. She's not the one who disburses, you know that. So Betty doesn't actually pay. It was an opinion Betty wrote, which went to the Minister of Finance. So Betty actually relied on the technocrats. So don't say that she's a lawyer, she must know. That's why I'm asking you. When you are in trouble as a lawyer, you take another lawyer.
No, I want to ask Baliba.
Yes.
Under whose instruction did they went to have this pre-trial and have consent judgment? It was that AG. When the judge said, please pay the first installment and the remaining installment come and contest, they went for pre-trial, ignored those orders of the court, and went for pre-trial and then agreed. And then that is where we had the consent judgment. So upon whose advice?
See, you know as a lawyer that even after judgment, you can compromise the judgment.
So you compromise at whose peril?
Good. So if the advice given to her was that, look, we have to pay and we should pay, Betty would ignore the judgment and have a compromise judgment to that. And it's possible. When you get judgment, you can compromise the judgment and go back to court.
Okay, let me fast forward this. Considering the sentiments on how the nation wanted their 50 million back, if you were the AG...
50 million is not gone. Luckily for us, the 50 million is within reach.
I know that, but I don't know. But I was wondering, why did they go for criminal, the criminal charge against him to try and imprison him? Why didn't they just go and get the money?
Why didn't they just go for
the AG? Just go for assets and get the money.
And they decided to go for the two-prong approach. The two-prong approach is that, and let's not forget that the Attorney General itself instituted civil action at the High Court to retrieve those money before the Supreme Court gave its ruling, and then the civil matter died a natural death. I'm sure you're aware of that. So there was already an attempt in a civil way to recover the money, but the Supreme Court ruling overshadowed it. Now, when you come to the criminal, yes, because his actions also had criminal connotations, the Attorney General felt that, look, why don't we use the two and also get him punished? The civil one will recover, but if you want to actually punish the person, you have to go for the criminal one, and that's what happened.
Staying with the criminal one, considering that they really wanted him punished and therefore went there, if you listen to the responses from the judges, they thought the AG could have done better.
And that's where I have problems with the.
Okay, now because you've also said that the technocrat gave bad advice. Could they at least have been invited to ask what informed their bad or supposedly good advice at the time? Maybe they thought it was good at the time.
When you are bringing in a witness, you bring in a witness who will support your case. Now, all throughout, these are technocrats, including even the minister that the judge asked that they should have brought. That's Betty Mould and even Barton Odro. These are people who strongly felt that what they did was right, and they defended their cause till today. He's even telling us that even today. So are you going to bring Betty, whose opinion led to the payment, and even Betty was the same person who, as it were, negotiated the payment? Are you going to bring her to come and say what? Are you going to bring Barton Odro, who was on Cape Coast FM station, saying that he believed that the payment was right? Are you going to bring those people who proffered the technocrats, who offered the advice to Betty to pay, for them to do what? To rather spoil your case, because they believed that the state had no case.
Counsel.
No, I think I disagree with Amaliba on that score. He knows the rules of evidence, that if you bring somebody to come and testify, in your favor, and the person then end up testifying against you, you can seek the leave of the court to turn that person to a hostile witness. And I can tell you that that can be done. So that now you end up cross-examining a person to bring up. You see, with the judge, the decision of the judge, I have read the judgment and I realized that the judge ruling actually somehow was only looking at the flaws of the prosecution. It was one-sided. You know, he was not somehow balanced in looking at the other side. So it's like you were just more interested in looking at the weaknesses of the prosecution case, than also looking at the weaknesses of the defendants.
Is it not out of frustration?
No, so you could see that if you read the judgment, it's about what the prosecution did not do right. If you look at the judgment, and then what happens to the defense, they may also have some flaws. So in writing judgment, you must be balanced. You look at the prosecution weaknesses, you look at that is why I think that the AG can go to the Court of Appeal and say that, look, the judge did not take advantage of all the evidence before him. He was one-sided. So now the Court of Appeal will have the opportunity to look at the evidence in totality and then decide whether there were certain weaknesses.
As a layman, let me then go back to what you initially said, that if we are going to pin this man down for colluding, defrauding, conniving, then how can you try him alone? Because he can't collude with himself. So could that not have been what informed the judges? You brought somebody here that he's conniving.
But he's right in saying that the judge was selective in the analysis.
Because the only ingredient was missing.
No, because don't forget that it was that same judge who, at the end of the prosecution's case, and when they were going to enter a submission of no case, said that no, the prosecution have been able to establish all the elements in the offense. So come and open your defense. So it is now baffling that a judge who made that ruling that the prosecution has established a prima facie case should now turn around and then do that kind of selective analysis. Indeed, the Attorney General, I spoke to her yesterday, was angry that the judgment was against the weight of evidence. And from what he's saying, that's what it means. Meaning that there was selective analysis of the evidence. So they are going to court on the grounds that the judgment was against the weight of evidence. And that's where he's coming from.
You see, again, and I'm sorry that I'm arguing from a layman's point of view, but I just feel that the main ingredient is missing. It's like,
which is what?
It's like grinding pepper, and you have tomatoes, onions, and your salt, but there's no pepper in there. You are charging somebody for colluding, conniving, sneaking, teaming up with a group of people to take something, and then he's there alone. So who did he team up with?
You see, that is where we were not being truthful and honest with the prosecution. Because Iyoko came out with a report. Iyoko came out with a report and indicted certain people, Nikwe and Co. And they even found evidence of 400,000 Ghana cedis in the account of the wife of Nikwe. That was enough evidence. Now what happened to Nikwe and Co? They were rushed to court only for the state to enter knowledge of that the state is not interested in prosecuting the matter. So they were left. Then Betty and Amidu also, they were let out. Now, if Woyome...
So now do you understand the judge's point?
Yes. So I'm saying that if Woyome were to be tried with Nikwe and Co, at least then we will have the link, because you cause financial loss to the state or defrauded by false pretense with the conniver. Then you bring all the... But now when you leave others, and then you only charge Woyome alone, you find it difficult. Because the issue of how you paid money to Nikwe and ended up was something that we couldn't get an opportunity to interrogate. But if they were all standing trial together, then your case will be strong. But then you go ahead, put Woyome there, and then you try as much as possible. 9 witnesses. It's not the number of witnesses that you present in court that will make you establish your case. It is the quality. It is the kind of things they come to say. So, in totality, I side with you when you say that, look, why are you wasting too much time on criminal prosecution than going for the money, because now the door is open. It's clear that, look, the Supreme Court said that we should go in for the money. So I'm expecting the AG to put more attention and take more consideration in pursuing the money than going for appeal now, because with appeal there are processes. It will take a longer time. But let's get the money. Once we get the money from Woyome, then we can take our time. And then you see, those who have not been implicated yet, they should not be smiling, because criminal offenses don't have expiring date. Come 20, 30 years, when a new government comes to power and it thinks that those people have a role to play, it is only Woyome who cannot be tried again on this issue. But the others, they can bring them back. So, as of now, it seems as if...
So he's sort of free?
Yes, Woyome somehow is free.
Double jeopardy?
Yes, but the others that we strongly believe that...
Is that why the motive? Because I couldn't understand the motive of the letter he wrote. Because if you listen to the explanation that the Attorney General is giving, again, from the layman point of view, other than muddying the waters, I don't actually see...
You cannot bring fresh action against him, but an appeal can lead to his conviction on this same matter. So it's the fresh action that we are saying that double jeopardy, like you said, auto for acquit, will be brought in as a defense if you are going to prosecute him again on this same matter. But an appeal could bring him back, and then he could be sentenced.
Let me take a short break here and come back. And as I promised you, it's a very packed show today. We won't be long at all. Stay tuned. Well, I wish I had another 3 hours so that we can at least begin to understand what's going on here. But I'll start with Maurice. I mean, there's quite a lot of letters, threatening and, name mentioning. And how effective and how damaging could that be?
I think that, to start with, Woyome had this attitude of threatening to blackmail. When this whole issue started, he was so disappointed in the government appointees and communicators that they should have come to his aid. And some of them are rather, attacking her and giving him out. So he started threatening. So Woyome have consistently been threatening. Then you realize that he went ahead. When Mama won the election, he also went ahead and warned President Mama, please make sure that you don't appoint any minister who has something to do with my judgment debt. That was also a threat. Then he also went ahead to say that, look, at the court, he will be given the opportunity to explain himself, and another day is ready to expose. And that one too was a threat. Now, he waited. He has gotten victory. But now he's seeing another threat from the AG. Now, the AG is so satisfied. It's like, I've won the case. Why don't you want to jubilate with me? But rather, you are so now, I'm now going to look at you critically. So it was a planting from Woyome. Let's sit down and look at what we can do to the AG to weaken her. So you can see that this is afterthought. That's how I can see it. It's like, look, now you want to pursue me. So I'll now make sure that I'll attack you. The best way to defend is to attack. So this is a blackmailing tool. So let me accuse the woman, and then the public will be divided, definitely. You have the opposition and those who don't like the woman coming in, and then you raise a serious allegation that, look, this judgment debt that you call fraudulent, that I obtained it fraudulent, and this judgment debt that is unconstitutional and illegal, this same judgment debt, I've used part to pay your client.
He even said he paid to the woman.
So now, how do you turn around to accuse me? So it's a difficult case, but I think that he has raised serious issues. To me, allegations need to be cleared. Once there's an allegation, whether it's true or not, he has to prove. But how do you make sure that you clear yourself from this allegation? Can't we set up a small committee and give that committee maybe 3 weeks or 1 week, 1 month?
Really?
No.
Just let's, in order to clear, when you may bring your allegation on. support it with documentary or oral evidence. Let the AG also come, and then let the two interrogate each other, and then let us clear.
But the AG has consistently been on the opposing side of Woyome.
The evidence does not support the charges that Woyome is bringing against the woman. Woyome claims that the woman has benefited from the proceeds that he took from the state. The woman has made it clear that on all occasions, at all material times, her firm was against Woyome, and there's no way that Woyome could be paying her. On the issue of that 1 million Ghana cedis, or is it dollars or 1 million Ghana cedis? Yeah.
1 million Ghana cedis.
Ghana cedis. It was money owed to their client. From Woyome, they recovered that money. So the money was actually paid in the name of the client, not in the name of the firm or even the attorney general. So if you talk about a committee, there must be, you know it as law, there must be first a prima facie case that there's a question to answer. But when you look at the evidence, nothing shows that there's something to answer.
But there should be somebody to say that on record. That's me. You see, because if not, Woyome will go all out and go out and keep on, and nobody can stop him. And then the problem is that you see,
but why does he say I'll mention names and I'll mention names?
Please,
What names?
do you know something? Let me be honest with you. If Woyome is watching me, look, Woyome, before God the man, is aware and knows all those who assisted him to get the money, right from the Ministry of Finance, who paid the money. If Woyome have parted with money, he knows. To the Attorney General Department, even to the court, the judge who handled the case, and the court officials.
Well, are you suggesting that the court, somebody took money?
No, I'm saying that. I'm saying that. But I don't know, you should notice, when you go to court, at times, I'm saying that. What I'm trying to say is that he alone, and the God Almighty up there, knows whether when he went to court,
he paid money.
He paid money. Are you getting me? Yeah. And then whether in the payment of the money, the Minister of Finance, he paid money. Whether at the Attorney General Department, he paid money. And then, so Woyome knows those people who helped him to get this judgment debt. Two, Woyome also knows how he disbursed the money. This money was paid, and everybody that Woyome have given him that part of the money, he has evidence. And I'm sure I can tell you that Woyome have the list of how the money was disbursed. Now, all those people are free today because Woyome.
Quickly, do you think the money will ever would he ever pay back the money?
It's very difficult because you see, then you need a big correction board.
Everybody should bring
as Obiara to correction. So you must move from one.
Realistically,
the Attorney General is committed to retrieving this money. Indeed, on your network, the Deputy Attorney General indicated they've even started identifying his landed properties and all those things.
You think they can go for it?
Oh, yes, they can go for it. Once the judgment has been given, the Supreme Court has
even though he is threatening to mention them.
Oh, they have a duty to perform, the Attorney General. The Attorney General is to act. And even if it means cracking the whip against her own mother, she has to do it, else she has to leave the place. So everybody is watching her, Ghanaians are watching her, and nothing short of retrieving the money will satisfy the people of this country, including the government. So she's out there bent on taking the money.
And I can assure you that the moment you begin to ask Woyome to refund the money, the list will start flowing. Those, definitely, because if I receive money and anybody benefited from it, and you push me to the wall, I'll begin to tell you how those money were disbursed. Now we have something we call tracing in law. It's an equitable remedy. If you get money, how you disburse it, we have the intelligence to trace. No, how was the money paid? Into which account? Is it Unibank? And who was the owner of Unibank? The four. So when the money went to the account, how was it disbursed? All these things are there. And I trust you. Woyome is watching me, and Woyome is watching the people, and he's watching them because if you dare Open your mouth. So the AG is the first person. You have shown well.
But it has shown that there was nothing truth about what he said.
No, he's saying that, he has shown that, I think there's nothing truth, but he's saying that part of the money has been given to the AG's client.
So
in payment.
That will hold.
No. He's trying to tell you that if he pays money to your client and the money is an illegal money, then if you work for your client, your client also use that money to pay you.
No.
Oh, no. It's
but he got the money in good faith.
Who got the money in
the
good
faith?
I'm not saying that
the AG worked for her money.
That's all time.
She worked for her money.
That's all time will allow me.
When you want to find out, we want to tell Ghanaians how it is best the money. I started with one.
There's many more to come.
1 million is gone.
Let's all watch this.
You go to the
Let's all watch this space. Thank you very much, Barima Osei, and thank you very much, Dr. Morezampa. I promise you a hot show today, but this case has certainly just begun. Folks, thank you very much for watching. And as I said, tomorrow we'll be back to do it all over again. Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.